Good evening, Professor. First off, I would like to extend my greatest gratitude and thanks for giving me a second chance on this vlog. I was horribly preoccupied with some important matters involving theater. And that's what I'm going to be discussing with you today. In a similar situation we talked about in class called the undeclared major with our main protagonist, Walter, and his life of being a farmer of generations and so forth. We first start out with his fear of his father's reaction, basically. As we both know, he comes from many generations of farmers. I mean, his father was a farmer, obviously. His grandfather, his great-great-grandfather was a farmer. But Walter does not want to be that. He wants to be an English major. He wants to be a writer and a philosopher. And he faces the fear of his father's disapproval. Now, if you're wondering, did I ever face such a fear when I said I want to be a theater major? To be totally and perfectly honest with you, no. I didn't have a complete and total fear of it. Because it didn't matter to me. I loved art. I love acting. I love being something else and telling a good story to somebody. Now, to move on to the second part was the discovery. When Walter hears of his father's reaction, he's still hit. He says to his son, "You're still you, only smarter." It was around my second year at Bethel that I also discovered my love for philosophy. And I discovered midway that philosophy and theater went well together. Not only did I want to be a theater major, I wanted to be a smarter theater major. Now, between me and you and the many other philosophers around, that still remains to be judged. I'm still undergoing the trial, and I'm willing to stand my ground for it. Such as Walter, he wanted to be smarter. He wanted to be better, to make himself better, to be the better man the next day, to be a better man the next day. And now we move on to the third part of this, the challenge, to make a living somehow. As many wonder, how does a theater major make a living? Many of them start running off to Chicago and to New York. Not me. No. No, sir. I am not going there. I'm going someplace else. I'm staying here, right here in Indiana. I'm going to open up my own theater. But all the fame and glory is over there. What about fame and glory? What about giving people a good story to enjoy? That's how I'm going to make my living. But I don't have the money or resources to do that, which is why I'm also going to be self-improving myself with masonry. I'm going to be learning how to lay bricks, make concrete and cement, to lay a foundation, put a roof over my head and food on a table. And that's the thing with Walter. He's still making a living as a farmer. He knows that, but in his mind, back of his mind, he's still a writer and a philosopher, which is number 4. We come to the reality, where he's on the tractor and his mind begins to wander, and he's ignoring his father's call. He was in his element. He began to philosophize, to think, and begin to write about something. And that's the same with me. When I'm most likely out there sweating 20 gallons of sweat somewhere, or losing body heat in 20 degrees, I'm most likely going to be thinking of some epic battle someplace with each brick laid, some romantic or catastrophically tragic story of special and unique characters. And that is why I have been related and saw a lot of myself in the Undeclared Major.